This is Kristina Goodrich of Design's Voice, and I have been welcomed into the kitchen of Bill Green, professor of industrial design at Virginia Tech and avid collector of kitchen tools. Well, now, how have kitchen tools changed over time, and how does that reflect on our society and culture and our diet?
Well, I mean, obviously a lot. And I don't think the tools control our diet. I think our diet controls the tools and also our culture. Every culture has a different set of tools depending on what they eat, often depending on what's available, where the culture originated. I was at the Baltimore Antiques Fair and I got this little bowl. But what this is a Roman food bowl, and it's got two interesting things. It has a bit of classical decoration on it, but that's really not the point. The decoration on this bowl is because they hadn't invented forks yet, and with a bowl like this, if its sides were smooth, you're gonna drop it because your fingers were all slime from picking up food. So they had to put a texture on the thing, and the way they did that was they actually had a pressure mold, and they would put a blob of clay in there, and they would squeeze two halves of a mold together, and they could get this texture on the bottom sort of automatically, and then they could get a bowl that would be holdable in slimy fingers. And it's interesting that the bowl doesn't really make any sense unless you don't use a fork or chopsticks or anything else. But I mean, really, you can't quite understand an artifact like this until you realize the materials that were available to them and the way they ate their food.
What do you think fuels the innovation in kitchen tools?
Wow. Yeah, innovation is always fueled by change, anything that's any different. And if things are exactly the same, you really don't need any new products because the whole set that you have already are adequate. But when things change, that's when you want new stuff. And today they change with cultural influences, and they change with a lot. They change with health ideas. A lot of the stuff has been driven by when people's attitude about what's healthy change, and also today, they're driven by changes in materials. What materials are available? What materials we think are proper? Like, are they green? Are they recyclable, renewable, whatever? Those have become really important just in the past few years, but those are changes that affect everything in the culture. But of course, they affect this.
Well, what do you feel is the future, and what is shaping kitchen tools into this next 100 years?
Well, uh, right now, I can say that the real change is in materials. It seems to be in materials. It seems to be in all the eco recycling. When you think about it, 15 years ago, all the greatest designers, nobody ever thought about that stuff. Didn't mean anything. And all of a sudden now it means a lot, and for instance, it's interesting to think of ceramics. You could argue, well, it's made out of dirt. I mean, it's pretty much endless resource, but in fact, there's a tremendous amount of embodied energy in ceramics. You got to fire it, And I was reading a thing that said that you can use a ceramic cup, which I've got a million of them. Everybody else does too, and you can use a ceramic cup. And it's more energy efficient than a paper cup, but only if you use it for several hundred times and never break it. If you break it, then all of a sudden it would have been better if you used a paper cup.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you very much, Bill, for taking the time to meet with us and talk about kitchen tools. And thank you for contributing to the dialogue that we've got on Facebook about it.
Okay, take it easy.